caveat, chain swinging, clang clang.
That light beyond the scientific definitions and concepts, ecology perhaps may best be appreciated through a more practical and more relatable perspective. Take for instance the manner by which Galang et al. Expounded on the subject of ecological principles in the 2003 publication, Seven Lenses or Environmental Principles as if Adults Matter. The authors enumerated 7 core messages that explain and emphasize in non-technical terms why, in a nutshell, ecology and the environmental matter. These 7 lenses are as follows. We humans have to understand nature and follow its rules, because if we want to ensure a continuous and steady supply of resources, one must not go against natural processes. If we humans cause any disruption in the cycle of nature, this can bring imbalance to our ecosystem. Each organism plays a fundamental role in nature. It is easy to appreciate the beautiful organisms like butterflies, especially if one knows their important role in pollination. In an ecosystem, all biotic and abiotic components interact with each other to ensure that the system is sustained. Any intrusion from outside may cause an imbalance and collapsing of the system. The environment is constantly changing. Organisms also develop through time. However, with our current technology, we have affected these natural changes, that these changes now causes problematic events to us. Humans should rethink the relationship with the environment, because what we believe that is beneficial to the environment often turn out to be catastrophic. When a piece of paper is thrown away, it disappears from sight, but it does not cease to exist. It ends up elsewhere. Gases released in smoke stacks may disperse, but it will end up a component of the atmosphere or brought down by rains. Earth's resources can be classified as either renewable or non-renewable. Renewable resources are those that can be easily replenished by natural cycles such that water, air, plants, and animals, while non-renewable resources are those that cannot be replenished through natural cycles. Although renewable resources can be replenished, it is important to understand that these are renewable only if they are not overused and not destroyed from factors such as pollution. Among all creatures, humans are the only ones made in God's image and have been given the right to have dominion over all His creations. Being the most intelligent and gifted with reason, humans are capable of manipulating creation to their own advantage. Nature knows best. I do believe that nature does the best and knows the best, so do not mess with it by polluting it. So whatever nature brings into your life or whatever it does to your life, it would be the best thing. All forms of life are important. This means that all living things are valuable and important. It has been significantly purposed in terms for survival and reproduction. Also, they deserve the same respect and protection as life forms that people do. We need to appreciate all living organisms that importantly need to sustain. Everything is connected to everything else. I remember this quote by Leonardo da Vinci himself. This connection means that we connected may be physical as our heart that joined within our body. Nothing in the world stands by itself. In essence, all life is connected to life because we all exist in the same space. We share the air we breathe, the sources of food we eat or make ourselves, the space we live in. Everything changes. You know what? Everything has its season. Do you observe especially the changes in our bodies, the weather, the plants, and maybe all surrounds us changing? Related to environment is natural ecological processes with consequent changes to functioning of ecosystems, include climate change, freshwater shortages, and loss of biodiversity. Everything must go somewhere. No matter what you do and no matter what you use, it has to go somewhere. For example, when you burn wood, it doesn't disappear. It turns into smoke which rises into the air and ash which falls back down to the earth. Ours is a finite earth. Everything that we need is provided by nature in abundance. So we are lucky that nature provides us foods, water, air, mineral, and some others. And this means that if we abuse or we do not care our ecosystem, we soon suffer. God given us beautiful and blessings each day, and that's why we need to value and care, because everything has its limitation. We need to remember that. The 7 key principles also establish interdependence and equal importance among all forms of life on Earth, regardless of size, distribution, or function. Changes that affect even the minute organisms can create a ripple effect that could bear tremendous impacts upon greater ecological interactions, observable or otherwise. In this sense, the call for greater awareness over ecological footprints, especially in this age of advanced modernization and industrialization, resonates louder than ever. People have the sentient capacity and thus a role to acknowledge nature's wonderful abilities and worrisome limitations alike. As conscious stewards, rather than abusive masters of nature, humans have the greatest means to appreciate as well as utilize what it can offer. Awareness and sensitivity to the present ecological situation, along with an eye keen on the future, is therefore a daunting responsibility and a humbling privilege at the same time. By recognition and acceptance of these principles alone, people can establish a genuine and impassioned foundation for advocacy and action towards the cause of environmental conservation and sustainability. Hi everyone, my name is Janie Villaverde and I would like to say thank you for watching. Have a good day and keep safe.
Hi everyone, my name is Janley Ragusa. I'm here to continue our reporting. Next is impact assessment. Impact assessment is a means of measuring of the effectiveness of organizational activities and judging the significance of changes brought about those activities. It is neither art or science, but both impact assessment is intimately linked to mission, and in that sense rifles through the organization. Next is air quality. Air quality is a measure of how clean or polluted the air. Its monitoring air quality is important because polluted air can be bad for our health and also the health of our environment. Next is the waste management. Waste management or waste disposal includes the processes and actions required to manage waste from its inception to its final disposal. This includes the collection, transport, treatment, and disposal of waste, together with monitoring and regulation of the waste management process and waste-related laws, technologies, economic mechanism. Next, the contaminant cleanup. As a part of overall site cleanup activities, the facility waste required to capture groundwater contaminated with creosote oil, aromatic hydrocarbons, ammonia, and iron, and prevent it from migrating off-site and potentially contaminating surrounding areas. Next is the water quality. Water quality describes the condition of the water, including chemical, physical, and biological characteristics, usually with respect of its suitability for a particular purpose, such as drinking or swimming. Next, the wildlife and plants. Wildlife laws govern the potential impacts of human activities and animals and wild animals, whether directly or individuals or population, or indirectly via habitat degradation. Next, the mineral resources. Mineral resources is the mineral deposit consisting of useful concentration that may or may not exceed economic cost for obtaining the valuable minerals. The technological process, the needs of the economy, and prices in the market. depends on weather, and when the rock or minerals becomes raw material. Next is the forest resources. Forests provide an array of benefits to human societies above and beyond their pivotal roles as habitat and environmental regulators in natural ecosystem. Those benefits are often described as resources that people can draw upon for fuel, lumber, and recreational or commercial purpose. Next, the water sources. Water resources are natural resources of water that are potentially useful as a source of water supply. 97% of the water on the earth is salt water, and only 3% of fresh water. Slightly over two-thirds of this is frozen and glaciers of polar ice caps. Next, the chemical safety. Chemical safety includes all those policies, procedures, and practices designed to minimize the risk of exposure to potentially hazardous chemicals. That includes the risk of exposure to persons handling the chemicals to the surrounding environment and to the communities and ecosystem within that environmental. Last is the fish and game. Fish and game manage, maintains, and enhances sport fish and game, birds, and their habitats. That's all. Thank you.
Environmental ethics. What are environmental ethics? Environmental ethics is a branch of ethics that studies the relation of human beings and the environment and how ethics play a role in this. Ang etika sa kapaligiran ay isang sangay ng etika na nag-aaral sa mga relasyon ng tao at kapaligiran at kung paano gumaganap ang etika dito. Environmental ethics believe that humans are a part of society as well as other living creatures, which include plants and animals. Ang etika sa kapaligiran ay naniniwala na ang mga tao ay bahagi ng lipunan, kaya hindi na iba pang mga buhay na nilalang na kinabibilangan ng mga halaman at hayop. Therefore, it is essential that every human being respected and honor these unused morals and ethics when dealing with this creature. Sa makatuwid, mahalaga na igalang at igalang ito ng bawat tao at gumagamit ng moral at etika kapag nakikitungo sa mga nilalang na ito. The main competing paradigms are anthropocentrism, sociocentrism, called ecocentrism as well, and theocentrism. Ang pangunahing nakikipagkompetensyang paradigms ay anthropocentrism, sociocentrism na tinatawag ding ecocentrism at theocentrism. Environmental ethics exerts influence on a large of disciplines including environmental law, environmental sociology, theology, ecological economics, ecology, and environmental geography. Ang etika sa kapaligiran ay may impluwensya sa malaking hanay ng mga disiplina kabilang ang batas sa kapaligiran, sosiolohiyang pangkapaligiran, theology, ecological economics, ekolohiya at geografiyang pangkapaligiran. Every time that a tree is cut down to make a home or other resources are used, we are using natural resources that are becoming more and more sparse to find. Sa tuwing pinuputol ang puno para gawing tahanan o iba pang yaman ay ginagamit natin ang mga likas na yaman na nagiging hiwa-hiwalay na. Environmental ethics builds on scientific understanding by bringing human values, moral principles, and improved decision making into conversation with science. Ang etika sa kapaligiran ay nagtatayo sa siyentipikong pag-unawa sa pamagitan ng pagdadala ng mga pagpapahalaga ng tao sa mga prinsipyong moral at pinahusay na paggawa ng desisyon sa pagkikipag-usap sa agham.
Sir Francisco, I'm here today to report environmental ethics and environmental philosophy. Environmental ethics has produced around environmental philosophy. Many scientists have taken up the belief of the philosophical aspect of environmental hazard, thus giving rise to environmental ethics. Currently, environmental ethics has become a major concern for mankind, and is one of the most important concerns that we face today. The industrialization has given way to pollution and ecological imbalance. If an industry is causing such a problem, it is not only the duty of that industry but all the human beings to make up for it. But how long an artificial environment will be able to sustain? Will it be able to take the place of natural resources? It is somewhat difficult to make adjustments that are necessary to ensure that you are following all environmental ethics. It is the responsibility of all to ensure that environmental ethics are being met. Ethics play an important role in our society today, and environmental ethics and business ethics must be considered. This has become more prevalent in today's society. Both oil and coal are bad, but not only for the environment, but for all living creatures, including plants and animals. Both are highly toxic in their natural raw state. They pollute the air and ground and water, and should eliminate from our daily lives. And that's all our report. Thank you. Sir Francisco, I'm here today to report environmental ethics and environmental philosophy. Environmental ethics has produced around environmental philosophy. Many scientists have taken up the belief of the philosophical aspect of environmental hazard, thus giving rise to environmental ethics. Currently, environmental ethics has become a major concern for mankind, and is one of the most important concerns that we face today. The industrialization has given way to pollution and ecological imbalance. If an industry is causing such a problem, it is not only the duty of that industry but all the human beings to make up for it. But how long an artificial environment will be able to sustain? Will it be able to take the place of natural resources? It is somewhat difficult to make adjustments that are necessary to ensure that you are following all environmental ethics. It is the responsibility of all to ensure that environmental ethics are being met. Ethics play an important role in our society today, and environmental ethics and business ethics must be considered. This has become more prevalent in today's society. Both oil and coal are bad, but not only for the environment, but for all living creatures, including plants and animals. Both are highly toxic in their natural raw state. They pollute the air and ground and water and should eliminate from our daily lives. And that's all our report. Thank you.